So becoming an author changed my life. I know that sounds all crazy dramatic, but hear me out. I'm not talking about winning a Caldecott or publishing a best-selling book. What I'm talking about is how it changed me personally, up here and in here. I was never a person who stuck with things for very long. I would see the shiny new idea or opportunity and jump at it and maybe not finish what I had started. I was a perfectionist. I wanted everything to be perfect. I wanted to be perfect myself, and I wanted anything that I did to come out perfectly. And if it didn't, I didn't even want to do it because I was too worried about what everyone else thought of me. Now, some of this new mindset might have come from age, because at some point we don't really care as much what other people think, at least in my experience. But it also had a lot to do with my experience in becoming an author and working toward that goal. So when my daughters went off to college and I was done teaching, I found out that I needed something to do that felt good to me, something to pour myself into. And I'd always been a creative person, and creating things always made me feel good. And I'd always loved books because I was a teacher, right? And I was a mom, and reading books to kids was always a huge, huge part of that, and a big joy in my life. And I'd always wanted to write a book. I enjoyed my creative writing classes in school. And even though I didn't do anything with that when I was younger, it was something that lingered in my mind that I wanted to do. So when they left for school, I decided I was going to write a children's book. And I will admit, at first, my expectations were that I was going to write a book, get an agent, and publish that book in 6 months. I even wrote that on Kidlit 411 when I joined, that was my goal. And I didn't have a clue, right? Didn't know what it involved. So, but I learned. And at first, nobody knew I was even doing it. I didn't even tell my husband. He would go to work, and while he was gone, I would work on my manuscripts and keep them all to myself. And I was having a ball. I really was. I was enjoying it a lot. And eventually I started sneaking out a little bit, and I joined Kidlit 411. And at first I just lurked and listened and learned. And then after a while I would post a question, or I would ask for ideas and opinions on things. And finally, I got some critique partners through that organization. And I was brave enough to have other people look at my work. And it still felt like I was anonymous enough, right? They didn't know me from Adam. And so I didn't really feel that need to please them quite as much. It was scary, believe me, but it wasn't such a big deal to me to have other people see my work if I didn't know who they were, or they didn't know me in real life, right? So I did that. And then eventually I entered a couple of contests, like Susanna Hill has the Halloween-Z and the holiday contest. And then Vivian Kirkfield had one, 50 Beautiful Words or something. And I started playing around with some of those. I even entered the March Madness Poetry Contest. But I still wasn't putting it out there or telling anyone in my life what I was doing, because I still didn't have that confidence. I didn't believe in myself. But slowly but surely with those critique partners and the community in Kidlit 411 and 12 by 12 and some of the other communities for children's book writers, slowly but surely I gained the confidence to step out there a little bit. And I knew at this point that the failures that I had accomplished, things I hadn't accomplished, the failures that I'd had early in life weren't really failures at all. I should have used them as learning opportunities. If you don't do well, you figure out why, and you improve on that. And I was pretty good at telling kids to do that in the classroom, and my own kids. But I wasn't very good at doing it myself. It took a lot of work to realize that if I didn't do well on a manuscript, then there was a reason. And my critique partners helped me with that too, right? They helped me figure out the ways that I needed to improve on my craft. So I worked on my craft for probably 4 years. I went to conferences. I took every webinar I could figure out was out there for me. Excuse me. And I would keep pushing and keep moving. And for some reason, I wasn't giving up like I always had in the past. And I can't honestly tell you why I stuck with this more, but I think it was because, number one, the community, and number two, it was something I really, really loved doing. So finding something that you really love is a big piece of that. Like and share, please. I wasn't really worried about pleasing anyone, but finally I got even a little bit braver, and I started submitting to agents, and I finally got an agent, and then I finally sold my first book, This Could Be You. That was an 8-year period. It took me 8 years. But now my expectations were different. I didn't think I was going to happen in 6 months. I should have realized that piano virtuoso didn't sit down at the piano the first time and play something earth-shattering, right? It takes time. Everything we do takes time. And it's a lot of work. So I was getting there. I was figuring that all out. My first book, This Could Be You, is about growth mindset and teaching kids all of these things I just got done talking about. Perseverance, using failure as a way to learn and keep moving, to know that practice doesn't make perfect, but practice makes improvement, and practice makes you better. You just have to keep working at it. So I was learning to live those things that I was teaching kids. And that's, to me, the biggest part of what being an author has done to me. I don't think I would quit that track team anymore. I would figure out how to be better. And that person who told me when I was in high school that my writing sucked, I would have said, then show me how to be better and let me learn from it and let me improve. And if I had done that 50 years ago, then I would have been a lot further along and maybe been able to publish books a lot sooner. So now I have more confidence. I am open to failure and rejection because I know that those things are going to make me feel better. Granted, they're not easy. I'm working on this YouTube channel right now and having a lot of those same feelings that I had early on when I first started writing, learning new things, figuring out how to make things work, and failing, putting a video up and having 2 views. It's not easy. But I'm taking a deep breath and pushing forward with this, just as I did with my writing. Because early on, I told myself, if I ever get to a point where I'm able to do it, I want to give back to the writing community that helped me so much. So many people that helped me just out of the goodness of their heart by offering webinars or articles or Kidlit 411, 12 by 12, whatever it is. There were so many people that helped me along. So now it's my turn, and I want to do that for you. So less perfectionism, trying to let go of the fear of rejection, trying not to overthink everything, and managing my expectations. That's a big one. Not caring so much what other people think. And the really, really big thing in publishing, in my mind, that you need to have, that I've never been very good at, is patience. It doesn't come easy. It doesn't come quick. But you can do it. Stick with me.